Welcome back, traveller. The room is just as you left it. Your window still holds its square of night. The hills beyond are sleeping, and the stars are exactly where they promise to be. Come in, settle down, and let the mattress carry you. A small boat on very still water. There is nothing to do now, and nowhere to be. That part of the day is over. If your thoughts are still busy, that is fine. Let them murmur in the background like a radio in another room. You do not need to follow what they are saying. My voice will go on ahead of you tonight, and you can follow it or drift away from it whenever sleep decides. Both are the right choice. On our last night together, we crossed the dark between the stars and reached our nearest neighbours, the two golden suns and their small red companion. And as we said goodnight, I pointed to a rose-coloured glow far off on the horizon of the sky, and I made you a promise. Tonight, I keep it. Tonight, we are going to the place where stars are born. Not a metaphor, not a story, a real place, with an address you can find from your own window. A cloud so vast and so gentle that it has been quietly assembling new suns since before humans learned to make fire, and will still be at it long after this night is forgotten. Close your eyes if they want closing. Breathe in slowly and out more slowly still. The window is open to the whole of the sky tonight, and the sky, as always, has nowhere else to be. On winter evenings, in the cold, clear part of the year, a figure of stars stands above the horizon. Most of the world knows him as the hunter, Orion. 2 bright stars for shoulders, 2 for feet, and between them, 3 stars in a short, tidy row. The belt. No other pattern in the sky is so easy to find. Once you have seen it, you can never unsee it. People have been finding it for a very long time. Some saw a hunter with a raised club. Others saw a harvester, a shepherd, a great canoe, a figure crossing a river of stars. Every culture that looked up drew its own picture around those same 7 bright points. The stars did not mind. They held still for every artist. Look closely at the hunter, and you will notice his colours. His upper shoulder burns a soft orange red, like the last coal of a fire. His opposite foot shines blue-white, like light off winter ice. And hanging below the belt, where a sword would be, there is a short line of faint stars. And the middle one is not quite right. It does not sparkle like the others. It glows, very slightly blurred, like a small breath on cold glass. That blurred little light is where we are going. It is not a star at all. It is the nursery. And the wonderful thing, the thing I love most about tonight's journey, is that you have already seen it. Anyone who has ever glanced at Orion on a clear night has seen the place where stars are born, without knowing what they were looking at. The hunter has been humanity's calendar as much as its ornament. His first rising before dawn told ancient farmers when to plant. His evening return announced the cold season, the way a lighthouse announces a coast. Whole harvests, whole festivals were timed by the same 3 belt stars you can find tonight. The sky was our first clock, and this constellation was the hand people trusted most. Tonight, we will cross the whole map of the hunter, from his nearest outposts to that glowing sword, and we will go inside. The door stands some 1,300 light years from this bed. That sounds far. It is far, but you have me, and we have all night, and distance has never once managed to keep us home. So we go, out through the glass without opening it, up past the roof and the hills, and away. The neighborhood we explored last time slips behind us quickly. The 2 golden suns, the little red star that circles them, all the small familiar mailboxes of our own street of stars. We wave, and we keep going. Old friends do not need long goodbyes. Travel with me the way we always travel, at the speed of a wandering thought, which is faster than any light and gentler than any engine. There is no rush of wind, no roar. Motion out here feels like being very still, while the universe politely rearranges itself around you. Notice how gently the sky handles a traveler. The stars do not rush past like fence posts. They trade places so slowly that the whole journey feels like one held breath. Let your own breathing borrow that pace for a while. In, unhurried. Out, even less hurried. There is no meter running anywhere tonight. The road to Orion is long even by the sky's standards. The glow you will look for above the hills tomorrow set out on its way to you some 13 centuries ago, in an age of monasteries and oil lamps, when the maps of Earth still had blank edges. Every glance at the sword is a look deep into the past. Ahead of us, faint and far, that rose-colored glow waits at the end of the dark. We will not go straight there. The road passes wonderful things, and a good journey, like a good night's sleep, is allowed to take its time. Our first stop is a family portrait, a very old one. About 150 light years from home, the stars around us gather into a loose, unhurried crowd. This is the Hyades, the nearest star cluster to Earth. From your window, it draws the face of Taurus the bull, a little sideways letter for in the winter sky. From here, inside it, it is simply a neighborhood of quiet suns with plenty of space between them. These stars are a family in the truest sense. They were born together from one single cloud around 600 or 700 million years ago. They have been traveling through the galaxy side by side ever since, the way a flock of geese holds its loose formation across a whole continent. If you lived on a world inside this cluster, your night sky would look much like the one over your house, with one lovely difference. Scattered among the ordinary constellations, there would be a few dozen stars, noticeably brighter and warmer than the rest. The family, still close enough to outshine the strangers. Photographs of relatives hung on every wall of the night. But look at them carefully, and you can feel it. The family is dispersing. Every million years, the group grows a little wider, a little thinner at the edges. The galaxy's tides tug at it, passing clouds nudge it, and one by one, the members drift out of reach of each other. There is no sadness in it. It is simply what grown stars do. They leave home. The bull's face, meanwhile, is hiding a joke. Its brightest light, the fierce orange star that seems to be the bull's glaring eye, is not part of the family at all. That star, Aldebaran, floats less than half as far from Earth, directly in front of the cluster. It photobombed the family portrait, and it has been taking the credit for a few thousand years of human stargazing. Let the old family drift on. They have their slow errand, and we have ours. A little deeper into the night, someone much younger is waiting. 440 light years or so from your pillow, a handful of brilliant blue-white stars sit close together, wrapped in what looks like softly glowing silk. This is the Pleiades, the 7 sisters, the most beloved little cluster in the whole sky. Nearly every culture on Earth has a name and a story for it, and nearly every story counts 7. The names alone could fill a night. In Japan, the cluster is Subaru, and its little portrait rides on the front of 1,000,000 cars. In New Zealand, it's dawn rising. Matariki opens the Maori New Year. Sailors of the Pacific steered by it, and poets on every continent stopped counting the poems long ago. Few things this far away have collected so many names. Where the Hyades were middle-aged, these stars are children. They are around 100 million years old, which sounds ancient until you remember the sun has been shining for 46 times longer. When the light of these sisters first crossed space, dinosaurs still had a very long lease on the Earth. The silk around them is a lovely accident. For a long time, people assumed it was the leftover cloth of their birth cloud, still clinging to them. In truth, the silk belongs to no one. The sisters are simply passing through a stray wisp of dust, and it catches their blue light the way fog catches the beams of a car at night. The cluster is simply driving through someone else's weather and wearing it beautifully. In a few dozen millennia, the sisters will have sailed clear of that fog, and the veil will go dark again. Think of that when you see them from your window. The prettiest thing about them is temporary, and they do not know they are wearing it. Some beauty is like that, borrowed, unnoticed, and perfect. There is one more tenderness to add. The sister light reaching your window tonight left the cluster more than 4 centuries ago, before anyone on Earth had pointed a telescope at the sky. It has been traveling, steady and patient, through all the noisy history since, only to finish quietly on the roofs and gardens of your street. Sleep is allowed to come whenever it likes, by the way. If it arrives while the sisters are still glowing beside us, let it take you. They have kept watch over sleeping humans since the first person drifted off under an open sky. Here is something the Hyades and the Pleiades have been trying to tell us, each in their own way. Stars are almost never born alone. They are born in litters, dozens or hundreds or thousands at a time, all from the same cloud, all in the same busy stretch of a few million years. The lone star is not the rule. It is what is left after a long goodbye. A young cluster is like a school playground at break time, crowded, bright, everyone close together. But the galaxy is patient, and its gravity keeps gently combing through. Over hundreds of millions of years, the cluster loosens, stretches, and finally lets go. Its stars spread out along the road like walkers leaving a festival, each one eventually walking alone. Even the sky's most famous shapes carry the evidence. Most of the stars of the Big Dipper, that great ladle in the northern sky, are members of one old dissolving group, still traveling loosely together, still family under the surface. The sky is full of scattered brothers and sisters who no longer remember each other's names. All this drifting has a rhythm under it. Every star here, family or stranger, is walking the same great circle. One slow lap around the galaxy takes something like 230 million years. The sun has finished that lap perhaps 20 times in its life. Clusters dissolve simply because no two walkers keep exactly the same stride, and the track is very, very long. Every point of light in your night sky began in a crowd, including, and we will come back to this before the night is out, the quiet golden star that will find your curtains in the morning. The hunter's shoulder is getting close now, and it is enormous. Betelgeuse, a red supergiant, somewhere around 550 light years from here, glowing that deep ember orange visible to unaided eyes, even from a city street. Up close, it barely looks like a star at all. It looks like a slow, vast hearth, its edges soft and breathing. The size of this thing is hard to say politely. If Betelgeuse were placed where the sun is, its surface would not sit in the sky like a bigger sun. It would be around you, Mercury, Venus, the Earth, Mars, all of them would be inside the star, and its outer layers would reach on toward Jupiter, an entire solar system's worth of room, filled by one single swollen sun. And yet, for all that size, Betelgeuse is young, perhaps 10 million years old, a toddler next to our sun. It was born big And big stars live fast. They spend their fuel the way rivers spend rain. And so their whole story, from birth cloud to final page, fits in a few million years. Betelgeuse is already in its last chapter, and it is at peace there, glowing like a lamp turned low. Watch it for a while, and Betelgeuse does something almost animal. It brightens and dims, gently, in slow overlapping cycles, some about a year long, some slower still. The whole star swells and settles, an old sleeper turning under heavy blankets. Astronomers chart those rhythms with great seriousness. You and I can simply borrow one for our breathing and thank the sky for setting such a peaceful example. A few years ago, the star made headlines on Earth by suddenly growing dim, as if someone had turned it down further still. For a season, people wondered aloud if it was about to end. It was not. It had simply breathed out, exhaling a great cloud of its own dust, which drifted in front of it like smoke in front of a lantern-lit window. The smoke thinned. The glow returned. The old hearth had merely sighed. One day, it is true, Betelgeuse will end, and end brightly, sometime in the next 100,000 years or so, which in star time means soon, and in your time means never. It will flare into a light that would outshine the evening star, visible even in daylight for weeks. And Earth, at this comfortable distance, will simply enjoy the view. Nothing about it will touch your window, except the light. We will tell the full story of nights like that another time. For now, rest a moment in this warm orange glow. Places this old and this calm are good places to feel sleepy. Across the hunter's figure, from the ember shoulder, his forward foot shines with the opposite kind of light. Rigel, a blue supergiant, roughly 860 light-years out, and one of the most luminous stars this whole region of the galaxy has to offer. Where Betelgeuse smoulders, Rigel blazes, white-blue, crisp, immaculate. The color is the clue, and it is worth keeping for life. Blue stars are hot stars. A star's color is its temperature written on the sky. Embers and coals glow red at a few thousand degrees. Turn up the heat, and the glow climbs through orange and yellow to white, and finally to blue. Rigel's surface is roughly twice as hot as the sun's, and it pours out something on the order of 100,000 times the sun's light. Rigel has one more distinction worth a slow smile. It stands not far from the sky's equator, so nearly every human being alive can see it, from northern cities, from the islands of the tropics, from the far south. Few of the sky's great beacons manage that, and off in the middle distance floats a wandering cloud of dust that glows faint blue, with no light of its own. It merely reflects Rigel, the way a window across a valley carries a lamp that was never in that house. All that brilliance comes at the same old price. Rigel is another of the sky's magnificent spendthrifts, a young star burning through its savings at a rate the sun would find scandalous. The quiet lesson of Orion is written twice, once in red and once in blue. The brightest lives are the shortest, and the modest little stars are the ones that get to shine nearly forever. Rigel does not keep its watch alone. Close beside it, almost lost in the glare, small companion stars circle quietly, moths at the edge of a floodlight, even the giants, it turns out, like a little company through the long night. Let the blue light wash over us once, like cold, clean water, and then let us move along the belt. And now, the three famous stars themselves. From Earth, the belt is the neatest thing in the heavens. Three bright lights, evenly spaced, strung on an invisible thread. Their old names are Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, words that came down to us through Arabic star lore. And the middle one's name means the string of pearls. For thousands of years, sailors, farmers, and children have trusted that tidy little row. So let the belt tell you its secret, kindly. The row does not exist. Seen from the side, as we see it now, the three stars are nowhere near each other. The middle pearl hangs perhaps twice as far from Earth as its companions, maybe more, separated from them by gulfs of hundreds of light years. Three unrelated beacons, at three very different depths, happen to line up from one particular porch in the universe. Yours. There is no trick being played on you. It is simply what a sky is, a flat picture painted on a deep universe. Every constellation is a coincidence of viewpoint, a pattern that belongs not to the stars, but to the ones looking at them. Move far enough from home, and every familiar figure in the sky quietly comes apart, like a crowd that was only ever posing for your photograph. I find that soothing rather than disappointing. It means the sky you know, the exact hunter with the exact belt, is visible from nowhere else in creation. It is the universe arranged just so, for the view from your window. A private edition, printed once. One of these three pearls, by the way, sits almost exactly on the sky's equator, which gives it a quiet party trick. From anywhere on Earth, from either pole to your own street, it rises almost due east and sets almost due west. A compass made of starlight, free of charge, reliable for 100 generations. The sky has always been generous with its gifts to navigators and to sleepers. Before we drop down toward the sword, let your eyes adjust to something almost too large and too faint to notice. Spanning this whole region, wrapping around the belt and the sword like a half-drawn curtain, there is an enormous arc of softly glowing red gas. Astronomers call it Barnard's Loop, after the sharp-eyed observer who first photographed it. From Earth, it is so dim that your eyes alone will likely never catch it. From here, it is the wall of the world. The arc is hundreds of light years across, and it seems to be a kind of bubble wall, a shell of gas pushed outward over millions of years by the fierce winds of Orion's young giant stars, and very likely by the final flares of older ones that ended long before anyone on Earth looked up. Generations of stars, sweeping the room and pushing the dust to the edges. Nothing about the arc was quick. It was raised over millions of years, breath by breath, partly by stars that no longer exist. No single star saw more than a small stretch of the work, and no astronomer will ever see it finished. Some architecture is like that, begun by the vanished, continued by the young, and admired for one instant of its long unveiling by a sleepy traveler passing through. I like what this means for everything we are about to visit. The nursery does not sit exposed in open space. It rests inside this vast, dim, glowing shell. The way a lit house sits inside a walled garden at night. The whole neighborhood of newborn stars is wrapped, loosely and warmly, in the breath of the stars that came before them. We are inside the garden wall now. Everything from here on is nursery country. Feel free to let your breathing slow to match the place. Nothing inside this ark has been in a hurry for a very long time. Just beside the belt's easternmost pearl, a strange cloud glows a deep amber, split down the middle by a bold dark seam. From Earth's telescopes, it looks so much like a bonfire that it was named the Flame Nebula. The name is a beautiful lie. There is no fire here, and no heat you could warm your hands on. The amber light is cold gas, made to glow by the ultraviolet shine of the brilliant star next door, the way a paper lampshade glows around a bulb. The real story is hiding behind the seam. That dark lane splitting the flame is a thick ridge of dust, and dust is the great secret keeper of the galaxy. Visible light cannot pass through it at all. For centuries, telescopes looked at this cloud and saw only the glowing curtain, never what the curtain was for. Then astronomers learned to look in infrared light, the kind of light that warm things give off in the dark, the kind that passes through dust as if it were mist. And there, behind the curtain, the flame turned out to be full of stars, hundreds of them, newly made, still wet with cloud, clustered together in a nursery that no human eye had ever seen directly. Infrared light deserves a moment of gratitude because it is the light of warmth itself. Everything mildly warm shines with it. A kettle cooling on the stove, a cat on a windowsill, and you, right now, under your blankets, glowing softly in a color no eye can see. The telescopes that found the hidden stars read the sky the way you might find a friend in a dark room, not by looking for light, but by feeling for warmth. This is worth carrying with us tonight. In this part of the sky, wherever you see a dark blot, a place that looks like nothing, it is usually the opposite of nothing. The darkest clouds are the fullest ones. Around here, darkness is where the treasure is kept. And no cloud keeps the secret more famously than the one just south of that same pearl. Against a tall curtain of dim, rose-glowing hydrogen, a pillar of absolute darkness rises, a few light years tall, in a shape every child recognizes at once, the head of a horse, a knight from some cosmic chess set, standing perfectly still against the glow. The horse head is not an object so much as an absence with a beautiful outline. It is a cold, dense knot of dust so thick that the glowing curtain behind it simply cannot shine through. What you are seeing is a silhouette, shadow theatre, performed on a stage light years wide, lit from behind by softly glowing gas. The horse is not the sky's only sculpture. Astronomers, who are professional cloud watchers in the end, have catalogued a whole stable of shapes in these dark nebula. An elephant's trunk, a cat's paw, a cone, a keyhole. It is the oldest human game, played with the oldest clouds there are. And without a watcher, the shapes would be nothing at all. Every figure in the sky is a small collaboration between the dust and the dreamer. Cold and dark as it is, the horse's head is made of exactly the same material as every nursery in Orion. Gas and dust, patient and heavy with possibility. Deep inside its neck, small warm knots are already quietly condensing. The chess piece is not empty. It is, in the slowest possible way, pregnant with stars. And like all dust sculptures, it is temporary. The same ultraviolet shine that lights the curtain behind it is gently sanding the horse away, grain by grain, era by era. A few million years from now, the head will have lost its shape entirely, the way a sandbar loses its shape to the tide. It is our luck to be passing by during the brief chapter when the horse still looks like a horse. That is one of the sky's quietest gifts to us. We arrived in time for this. Now, at last, we turn to the sword. Below the belt's 3 pearls hangs that short, faint, vertical line of light, and its middle light is the one that started this whole journey. The little glow that does not sparkle. It has been waiting at the end of the road all night, and it is finally close. From here, it no longer looks like a blurred star. It looks like what it is. A luminous blossom of gas, rose and pale teal, opening in the dark. The Orion Nebula, the nearest great star factory to your bed, and of all the sky's glowing clouds, the easiest to find with bare eyes. No telescope, no map, just a clear night and a glance at the hunter's sword. You can pay it a visit without me whenever winter offers you a clear evening. Find the 3 belt stars first. They will forgive you if it takes a minute. Slide your gaze a little way down to the short vertical sword and rest it on the middle light. If the night is dark and your eyes are patient, you will notice that it refuses to come into focus. That soft refusal is the nursery, greeting you across 13 centuries. Think how many people looked at it before anyone knew. Shepherds, sailors, emperors, children being carried in from the evening cold. Thousands of years of eyes rested on that soft smudge and filed it away as one more star, slightly out of focus. Only a few centuries ago did telescopes reveal it as a cloud, and only within living memory did we understand what the cloud was doing. It was making suns in plain sight the whole time. It hangs ahead of us now, like a lit doorway at the end of a long, dark hallway. There is no gate to open and no permission to ask. This is the rare kind of majesty that never learned to exclude anyone. We drift closer and closer, and the glow becomes a place. Let us go in. Inside, the nebula is a cavern made of light. Walls of glowing gas rise and recede in folds. Rose and salmon and a strange soft green, sculpted into bays and headlands and hanging veils. The chamber we are drifting through is so large that light itself needs about 24 years to cross it. Whatever the word room means to you, stretch it until it stops complaining, and then keep stretching. The colors are not paint. They are the gas itself, announcing what it is made of. The rose and red glow is hydrogen, the universe's first and favorite ingredient. The teal-green shimmer is oxygen, glowing in a way so delicate it can only happen in gas this thin. Every color in these walls is a signature, and reading them is how we know, from 1,000 light years away, exactly what a star nursery is made of. And thin it truly is. A handful of this luminous cloud would be a better vacuum than any laboratory on Earth can make. If you gathered a volume of nebula the size of the entire Earth, all its dust and gas together would add up to roughly the weight of a single car. And yet, there is so much of it, light year upon light year, that the whole cloud holds some 2,000 suns worth of material. Almost nothing, in quantities beyond imagining. That is the recipe for everything. And listen to what all that thinness means. This is a place without sound. Gas this sparse cannot carry a voice, a bell, or even a whisper. The grandest halls in the sky are also the most silent. If you could stand here without me, you would hear only your own heartbeat, faithfully brought along from home. Let that deepest of all silences settle over this part of the night. One more secret before we go deeper. This glowing chamber, vast as it is only the lit corner of something far larger. Behind these bright walls stretches a dark continent of cold gas, invisible and enormous, of which our glowing cavern is a single alcove where the lights happen to be on. The nursery you can see from Earth is the hallway lamp. The house it belongs to is dark, and it goes on for hundreds of light years. So who left the lights on? Drift with me towards the brightest chamber, and there they are. 4 young stars, arranged in a small lopsided rectangle, so distinctive that astronomers simply call them the trapezium. They are the chandelier of this entire cathedral-sized cloud, and they are astonishingly young. Next to them, the Pleiades sisters we visited earlier are respectable adults. One of the 4 does most of the work. It is a giant of a star, tens of times the sun's mass, with a surface several times hotter, and it pours out ultraviolet light with such generosity that it alone sets most of these light-year-wide walls glowing. Nearly everything we have admired since we came inside, every rose fold and green veil, is this one young star's doing. One bulb, lighting a room 24 light years across. Around the 4 bright ones, the chamber is crowded in a way our part of the galaxy has long forgotten. Thousands of infant stars share this space, packed closer together than stars ever get to be in later life. If Earth orbited a star in here, night would hardly exist. The sky would hang thick with brilliant neighbors, and the glowing walls would stand behind them like permanent dawn. Which gives us, back home, something to be grateful for. Our sun left its crowd long ago, and so Earth receives what a nursery world never does. True darkness, a sky that closes like an eyelid every evening. Real night is an inheritance from the sun's ancient departure. Every restful sleep you have ever had was made possible by a goodbye older than the oceans. It will not last, and that is not a tragedy. Only a few million years from now, these young stars will have blown the remaining cloud away and drifted apart, and this whole glowing chamber will dissolve into ordinary transparent night. The cathedral is temporary. Every star nursery is, which makes this, right now, with the lights still on and the halls still full, simply a very good time to have visited. And now, the heart of the whole matter. We have toured the nursery. It is time to watch, respectfully and from nearby, how a star is actually made. The recipe begins with the least promising ingredient imaginable. A patch of cloud, darker and colder than everything around it, drifting at some 260 degrees below zero. A place, you would swear, where nothing could ever happen. But cold is exactly what the recipe needs. Warm gas is restless. It fidgets, it pushes back, it refuses to settle. Cold gas grows calm enough for the gentlest force in the universe to finally be heard. Gravity. Every speck of dust in that dark patch pulls, ever so slightly, on every other. And with nothing left to interrupt, the patch begins, molecule by molecule, to lean inward. There is no collapse, no avalanche, nothing you could film. The falling takes hundreds of thousands of years. an unhurried gathering in, like snow settling on snow all winter long. The patch grows denser at its center and begins to turn, slowly at first, then faster as it shrinks. The way any spinning thing quickens as it pulls itself smaller. The core packs tighter, and tightness, at last, makes warmth. The cloud, for its part, is in no danger of using itself up. Nurseries are frugal. Of all the material in a cloud like this, only a few % become stars in any one era. The rest waits, stirred gently by starlight, keeping itself for later. A star nursery is not a furnace roaring through its fuel. It is a pantry, deep and cold and nearly endless, from which the galaxy takes a little at a time. Deep inside, hidden from every telescope by its own wrapping of dust, the young core glows a dim, secret red. It is not a star yet. It is a protostar, a promise keeping itself warm. For a few 100,000 more years it feeds and contracts and heats, degree by degree, era by era, until its center reaches a threshold near 10 million degrees. At that temperature, something extraordinary quietly begins. Hydrogen atoms in the core start to merge into helium, and each merging releases a whisper of light. Whisper joins whisper, until deep in the dark, a fire that is not really a fire steadies itself into permanence. The inward lean of gravity and the outward press of light come into balance and hold. And that is it. That is the whole miracle. No thunderclap, no burst. Somewhere inside a dark cloud, a light switches on that will not switch off for billions of years. It happened here, in this nebula, thousands of times. It is happening now, behind the veils we drifted past tonight. And once, long before there was anyone to count the years, in a cloud much like this one, it happened to a small, unremarkable core that would one day be called the sun. Every sunrise you have ever slept through is the continuation of that one quiet moment. A newborn star does not come alone, and this may be the loveliest part of the whole story. Remember the spin, the slow turning of the collapsing cloud. That turning flattens the leftover material into a broad, thin disk around the new star, the way a spinning ball of dough flattens in a baker's hands. The new star ends up wearing a wide, quiet plate of dust around its middle, and that plate is not debris. It is an order form. Within that disk, dust grains drift and touch and stick. Specks become flakes, flakes become pebbles, pebbles gather into boulders, and over millions of patient years, boulders sweep up their neighborhoods and grow into worlds. Planets are not an afterthought of star making. They are simply what the leftovers do, given time and peace. Around this galaxy, worlds seem to be less an exception than a habit. When a great telescope was first pointed carefully at this nebula, astronomers found these disks everywhere, well over 100 of them, small dark ovals silhouetted against the glowing walls. each wrapped around its own infant star. Whole solar systems still in the box, drifting through the same halls we are drifting through tonight. If sleep is close now, here is a gentle use for it. Picture those small dark ovals drifting past, each one a solar system that has not happened yet, and count them the way people once counted sheep. One future world, 2 future worlds, 3. There are more than enough to last until morning, and no one has ever needed to finish counting. Look at one, and let yourself wonder. In that dim oval of dust, there may one day be an ocean, a shoreline, a rainy afternoon. Perhaps further along than that, a window with someone sleeping behind it, while some other patient voice counts stars for them in some other language. The nursery does not just make lights, it makes homes. Not every beginning in this cloud ends in a star, and the nursery does not mind at all. Some collapsing cores gather too little material. They shrink and warm and glow dim red, exactly as the recipe says, but their centers never quite reach that 10 million degree threshold. The great light never steadies. What remains is a brown dwarf, heavier than any planet, lighter than any star, an almost star. I want to be careful with the word almost, because science once called these failed stars, and I think the name is unfair. A brown dwarf glows with its own saved-up warmth for billions of years, banded like a gas giant, sometimes flickering with silent lightning storms, cooling as slowly as a stone hearth after the family has gone to bed. It asks for nothing. It orbits nothing. It simply is, on its own terms, forever. Some of them cool so far that the word star loses its grip entirely. Astronomers have found brown dwarfs whose cloud tops are no warmer than a mild afternoon, and at least one that is colder than your bedroom is right now. Somewhere out there drifts an object several times heavier than Jupiter that you could, in principle, rest your palm against. The universe keeps every temperature in stock, including somewhere exactly yours. This nebula makes them in quiet abundance alongside its stars, the way an orchard drops small fruit among the large. Some linger among the newborn suns. Some sail out alone into the wider galaxy, unlit and unhurried, and the night sky is scattered with thousands of them that no eye will ever see. There is a small bedtime lesson in them, if you want one. Not every seed becomes a tree. Some become something quieter and keep their warmth longer for it. The universe builds at every size, and it does not grow at its work. Before we leave the halls, one last wonder, and it is the nursery's liveliest. The very youngest stars here, the ones still swaddled deep in their cocoons, have a surprising habit. As material spirals down onto them, they answer by firing 2 slender jets of gas from their poles, straight up and straight down, out through the cloud that hides them. Twin searchlight beams from a lamp you cannot see. The jets travel for trillions of kilometers, and where they finally plow into the surrounding cloud, they light up small glowing knots, like the tips of two long matches touched to the dark. Astronomers find these glowing footprints all through the nebula, each pair pointing back to a hidden newborn, each one a birth announcement written in light. The glowing footprints carry two names, Herbig and Hero, for the two astronomers who noticed them in the same era, one under the skies of California, one in the mountains of Mexico, each without knowing of the other. Two people, far apart, quietly writing down the same small lights. There is something fitting in that. News of a new baby always travels like this, arriving in more than one place at once. And here is what makes them precious to the people who watch them. They move. Most things in this sky hold their pose for 1,000,000 years at a time, but these knots visibly drift and brighten and shift across photographs taken merely years apart. In the slowest country we have ever wandered, the newborns are the one thing quick enough to watch, which sounds about right. It is always the youngest in the house who will not hold still. In a few 100,000 years, each of these hidden infants will quiet down, breathe out its last jet, shrug off its cocoon, and take its place as an ordinary steady star. The tantrums of the very young, here as everywhere, are just the sound of settling in. We drift back out now, through the thinning rose haze at the nursery's edge, and as we go, I want to turn the whole story around and point it at you. Everything we watched tonight, the cold, dark patch, the slow lean inward, the light switching on, the disk of dust learning to be worlds. All of it is your own family history. It happened, step for step, to the cloud that became the sun. Billions of years ago, 4.5 of them, our sun was an infant in a crowded nursery, very much like this one small light among hundreds of siblings. We even have keepsakes from those days, locked inside ancient meteorites. Astronomers find traces of rare atoms that are best explained by a massive neighbor star seasoning our birth cloud, perhaps with its own spectacular ending, just before or just as the sun was forming. Our quiet home star, it seems, grew up on a lively street. Then came the long goodbye we saw written in the Hyades. The sun's birth cluster loosened and scattered, and over 4 billion years, its members spread around the galaxy until no one remembered anyone. The sun's brothers and sisters are out there tonight, hundreds of them, threaded anonymously among the ordinary stars. Astronomers, hunting by chemical family resemblance, have even named a few candidates, long-lost relatives possibly, living a few streets over in the galaxy, unaware of us as we are of them. So when you next see the hunter from your window, you can read him differently. That soft smudge in the sword is not a distant marvel. It is a photograph of your own beginning. You are not looking at something strange and far away. You are looking at the kind of place you are from. Every atom of iron in your blood and calcium in your bones passed through rooms like these on its way to you. The universe, whatever else it is not a stranger's house. It is the old family home. And tonight, you visited the room where everyone was born. No wonder it feels, in some wordless way, familiar. And now the road home, which for us is never long. The nebula folds back into a soft blossom behind us. The blossom shrinks to that blurred little light in the sword. The belt gathers its 3 pearls back into their tidy row. And the hunter reassembles himself, piece by piece, into the figure standing patiently over your hills. The window frame returns. The blanket. The dark, familiar room. Tonight, you crossed 1,000 years of light. You met the old family drifting apart, and the young sisters wearing borrowed fog. You warmed yourself at the great ember and cooled yourself in the blue beacon's glow. You watched a belt come apart into honesty, met a horse made of shadow, and stood in glowing halls while new suns switched on around you, each with its plate of future worlds. And you learned that you were, in the oldest sense, home the whole time. The nursery does not close when you stop watching. While you sleep tonight, gravity will go on gathering its cold patches. The jets will inch across their cloud. The 4 young suns will keep the lights on in the halls. None of it needs you awake. That is the deepest comfort this sky offers. It all continues beautifully on your behalf while you rest. Before I let the night have you completely, one last slow breath together. In, gently, like a cloud leaning inward. Hold it for a heartbeat, like the moment before a new light steadies. And out, long and unhurried, like a jet reaching the far end of its patient journey. That is the whole story of tonight, told one more time, in the language your body speaks best. The next time we meet, we will follow the story to its other end. If tonight was about how stars begin, next time is about how they bow out, how the great ones go out in glory, how the modest ones fade with impossible patience, and how their endings scatter the very dust that nurseries like tonight's gather into new beginnings. The circle, it turns out, was the story all along. For now, let the hunter keep his watch over the hills. Let the sisters wear their fog, and the ember glow low on the shoulder, and the small lights in the sword go on being born. Everything out there is patient and calm, and exactly where it should be, and so are you. Good night, traveler. Sleep now.